Okay, so we're gonna estimate products of whole numbers and decimals, either rounding to the nearest one or using compatible numbers. Who can tell me what's the difference between rounding and using compatible numbers? Yes.
Compatible numbers are like just a number that you can divide in. Like it's just a number that'll make it easier. And rounding is like it's still like around that area, but it's rounded to like the nearest place value.
Okay, so today, compatible numbers are numbers that are easy to work with, which means usually in our examples that we're going to go over, you'll see the compatible numbers will leave a digit in the highest place value and the rest will be zeros. Okay? Where if we round, we'll probably round to the nearest one because it's a decimal. And then we'll multiply 2 digit by 2 digit, or 1 digit by 1 digit, or 2 digit by 1 digit, just like we've done in the past with whole numbers. So, problem of the day. So when we get started, a little warm up. Bren has 4 dimes, 2 quarters, and 3 nickels. She spends 35 cents. How much does she have now? So the first thing that you guys are going to solve on your whiteboards is what?
How much money she has, and then subtract it.
And then subtracts how much she spent. Very good. So the first thing I want to do is figure out how much money she started with. Okay, so in this case, she had 4 dimes. And 4 dimes is how much?
40 cents.
And then she had 2 quarters. And she had 3 nickels.
15 cents.
Which is 15 cents. Then we're going to add it up. 0 plus 0 plus 5 is 5. 4 plus 5 is 9. Plus 1 is
7.
And our decimal has to go straight down, right? So I have $1.05. $1.05. And I'm going to subtract now 35 cents. Okay, 5 minus 5 is 0. I cannot subtract 0 from 3, so I regroup. So my answer is 70 cents. All my decimals are in line right there. Okay?
Yes.
Very good. A little bit more warm up before we get started. Talk me through them. Okay, talk me through it. Number 1. At 5 subtract 4.
1.
2 minus 6.
Can't do that.
Regroup.
Can.
12 minus 6.
6.
9 minus 3.
6.
Make sure you put the dollar sign back there because we're dealing with money. Okay? Over here, number 2. Now they've already lined up where our decimal should be for us, but you can see there's nothing over the 7 and the 8, so we'll just go ahead and put zeros there. That way it's easier for us to work with. 0 subtract 8. Can't do it. So I can't regroup from here, so I'm going to come all the way over here, change that to 8. That'll be 9. And there's my 10. So 10 subtract 8? 2. 9 subtract 7?
2.
8 subtract 4?
4.
Remember the line is where my decimal goes. Okay? So 4 and 22 hundredths. Now down here, number 3. 0 subtract 7. Can't do it. So I'm going to change my 9 to an 8. Regroup my 1. 10 subtract 7.
3.
8 subtract 6.
2.
bring my decimal down, and that's it. So 23 hundredths. Number 4, 4 subtract 8.
Can't do it.
Can't do it, so I have to regroup. 14 subtract 8 is 6. 5 subtract 3 is 2. Alright, now hopefully you guys rewrote the 5 and 6 to look like this. 0 subtract 1, can't do it, so I have to regroup. So I'm going to come all the way over here to 4. 10 subtract 1 is 9. 9 subtract 8 is 1. 3 subtract 6, can't do it. So I regroup again. 13 subtract 6 is 7. The line is my decimal. $7.19. Make sure you dollar signs when we're working with money. Okay? And we're going to rewrite this over here. 18 and 31 hundredths. Subtract 9 and 67 hundredths. Remember, my line represents my decimals. Okay? 1 subtract 7.
Can't do it.
11 subtract 7.
Can't do it.
You can.
4.
4. 2 subtract 6.
Can't do it.
12 subtract 6.
6.
7 subtract 9.
Can't do it.
17 subtract 9.
7.
8.
Oh.
There's my decimal. So 8 and 64 hundredths. So this is 8 and 64 hundredths. Okay. Moving on. All right. So how do you estimate products of whole numbers and decimals? Well, in the past we've used models and grids to multiply whole numbers. Right? That was when we used our base 10 blocks. Okay? And then to estimate, we did rounding and compatible numbers. Now, we've already talked about this. We are going to use rounding and compatible numbers to estimate decimals multiplied by whole numbers. So our answer for yes, the strategies that we've previously used are going to be used today as well. All right, so we're going to do a little problem together. We're going to pick a number between 5 and 10 that has a decimal to the hundreds place, and then we're going to estimate the number, and we're going to estimate the product of your number and 4. So we'll do it up here together. So who has a number with a decimal to the hundreds place that is between 5 and 10? Mason.
5 and what?
Okay, first of all, 3 is not even close to being in between 5 and 10, but it also, 3 has no decimals.
6.
No decimal place values. What?
6.
7.
We need a number with a decimal to the hundredths place.
10. Between 100. That means 6.
How many digits to the right of a decimal do you need in order to have a number that has
2.
2? So if we need 2 decimal places to the right of the number, why is it that everybody is telling me whole numbers?
It is 10. 10 is 10. No, because then it's 5 between 10 is the whole number. 1000. It's 7. No, 700. 7.5.
Everybody needs to stop talking. You know. Yes. 2.5.
No, it's not.
Okay. So we need a whole number that's between 5. Let's start with the whole number that's between 5 and 10. I heard 7 said a lot. That is between 5 and 10. However, I have a problem because it says that I need a decimal to the hundreds place in this number. So 7 and how many hundreds?
6. 5.
Let's go 6 hundredths. How am I going to write that?
7.06.
Everybody was shouting out whole numbers. You left out the hundreds. Here, 7 and 6 hundredths. Okay? And we're going to multiply that times 4. Okay? But we're going to estimate. So in order to estimate, what are we going to do with their 7 and 6 hundredths? What are we going to turn it into?
7 and 10 ones. 7.1. 24.
If I'm going to estimate the product, I'm going to round to the nearest. The nearest. Stop shouting out. We're going to round to the nearest whole number. So in this case, 7 and 6 hundredths. Rounded to the nearest whole number is going to be what? 7. Because we look at 7, so we're looking at the digit next to it. It's less than 5, so 7 stays the same, right? So 7 times 4 equals what?
28.
28. So the product is about 28. Shipping package weighs 68 and 73 thousandths pounds. If there are 12 of these packages in all, estimate the weight of the packages. So you guys are going to work this out. What number needs to be rounded?
The pounds. The weight of the package.
The weight of the package.
And then times it.
Okay, let's do this with compatible numbers. We're going to use compatible numbers. This needs to be rounded, and this needs to be a number that works easily with this. So rather than go to the nearest ones place, where do you think I'm going to round 68 and 73 thousandths to? Because we have 68 and 73 thousandths times 12, right? Okay, what am I going to round my 68 and 73 thousandths to in order for it to be a compatible number? Am I going to round it to the ones place, the tens place, the thousands place? Where would you round it to? Compatible numbers. The tens place. So 68 and 73 thousandths is going to round to what?
70.
Now, is 12 easy to work with, or is there something close to it that's easier to work with?
10.
There you go. So it's about 700 pounds. Okay. Okay. Mrs. James buys about 15 8/10 gallons of gas each week for her car. About how many gallons of gas will she buy in 5 weeks? In our last class, we decided that Mrs. James drives a lot. So we're going to estimate the product to 15 8/10 and 5. So we're going to round. 15 8/10 rounded will become what? 10, please. It's going to round to 16. 16 times 5. It's page 379. 35. 16 times 5 is 35. You should probably solve this on a piece of paper before shouting out answers. Because I'm pretty sure that 7 times 5 is 35. And I'm pretty sure that 16 is a lot larger than 7, which means that 35 could not possibly be our answer. Yes, baby. It is 80. 5 times 6 is 30. Okay. Well, 5 times 6 is 30, so that's 0. Carry your 3. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 3 is 8. Okay, so 15 and 8/10 times 5 is about 80. So she buys about 80 gallons of gas in those 5 weeks. Now, multiplication and repeated addition are the same thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to use repeated addition because we know how to add decimals. Okay? We're going to use repeated addition to solve 15 and 8/10 times 5. So we're going to have how many 15 and 8/10 in our problem? 5 of them. Because that's what it's multiplied by. So we're going to repeat the addition 5 times. We're going to do the same thing with 16 5 times. So we can compare our two answers. So 16 plus 16 is 32. Plus 16 is 48. Plus 16 is 64. Plus 16 is 80. Do this one on your whiteboards. All right, so we have 15 and 8/10 together 5 different times. We have okay. We're adding that together. All of my decimals are lined up, which means my decimal's gonna be right here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 8 and 8 is 16, plus 8 is 24, 32, plus 8 is 40. 9, 14, 19, 24, 29. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have 79. Is that what you guys got on your whiteboard? Yes. Fantastic. You cannot multiply it because we're checking our multiplication, which is why we are adding it. Okay? So 79 is close to the estimate 80, so the answer is reasonable. All right. Now, a worker loads 16 packages onto a truck. Each package weighs 58.5 pounds. About how many pounds are loaded onto the truck? We're going to estimate the product of 58.5 and 16. We're going to do so with compatible numbers this time. So we're not rounding to the nearest one, we're going to use compatible numbers. So 58.5 will round to 60. Yeah, they kind of gave it to you right there. Okay? Now, the easiest way to solve when you round compatible numbers and you end up with numbers that end in 0. Let's see if you guys remember after taking a week off. What am I going to do with my zeros? Yes? Nope. We're not dividing. Yes?
Don't use them.
No, we're multiplying, so we're going to use them. Yes?
Put the 2 zeros at the end of the answer?
Yes, so we're going to put our 2 zeros over here for our answer. Now we're going to get rid of our zeros because they're all both over there. And then we're going to go 6 times 2 is?
12. 1,200.
1,200. There you go.
So much.
Okay, so our guided practice, the first 4 problems I'm going to do with you. After we do these 4 problems, you guys will be on your own, working to number 19. Okay, we're estimating each product. So I'm going to go 2 times what?
4.
4 what?
$4.
2 times $4, which equals $8. Okay, I rounded this to 4 because 4 is in the ones place. There's a 1 next to it. 1 is less than 5, so the 4 stays the same. Correct? Okay, so next one, 18 and 4/10 times 10. What am I going to do with 18 and 4/10? You're going to round it to the nearest whole number, which is what digit is in the ones place?
8.
So I'm going to round
20.
to the 8.
18.
I look next to the 8. What's there?
4.
So what am I going to do with the 8? Leave. I'm going to leave the 8 alone because it's less than 5. So it's 18 times 10. 18 times 10 equals? That would be added. If I added 18 and 10, you would get 20.
180.
180. Next one, number 3. I'm going to round 19 and 8/10 to the nearest 1. I'm going to multiply it by 3. So, I'm rounding the 9. I look next to the 9. What is there?
8.
So what am I going to do with my 9?
Change it to
20.
20.
Up to 20.
You're going to round 9 to 20.
Round 9 to
9
0.
to 10, but 2 to 0.
I'm going to round 9 to 10, which means that my 9 is now going to be a 0, and my 1 is going in my 10's place, which now there's 2 1s, so that's why it ends up being 20. And I'm going to multiply that times 3. 20 times 3 equals? 60. All right, last problem that we're going to do together. 5 times $2.14. So $2.14, we're going to round that to the nearest 1, which is 2. We're going to look next to the 2, and there's a 1. So what's going to happen to my 2?
Nothing. It's going to stay the same.
Make sure that you write your dollar sign there so you don't forget. So we have 5 times $2 equals
$10.
$10. There you go. You have 15 more problems to work out on your own.
Can I use the restroom?
Ladies, work. Can you go to the nurse when we go to recess in 15 minutes so you can work on your work right now?